Welcome back to another tutorial, guys. In this specific tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to create this effect. All right. That is exactly what we're going to be doing today. I'm only going to be primarily focusing on this aspect, this energy ball charge up, right? That's the only thing that I'm actually going to show you guys how to create. I'm not going to show you guys how to create the full blast. The reason is it's just too much. I'm going to break this tutorial into two different tutorials. All right. So there's going to be an energy charge up. And then of course, there's going to be the blast tutorial as well too. So everything in this tutorial is absolutely going to be free. And we're not going to be using any paid plugins. Unless you have the paid plugins, it would honestly be easier for you if you got to play paid plugins already. But if you don't, that's fine. I mean, I'm going to do my best to for us to kind of get the best look. So let's get started. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and download the project files. In the project files, I've included a whole bunch of stuff. I've included some dust, cinematic, sound effects, and also the video that we're going to be using for practice. Now, for this specific video, right, I'm actually using this specific footage right here. This footage itself, I did film this in 4K, but for the sake of this tutorial, I reduced the quality all the way down to 1080. So we're only going to be focusing on this aspect right here where, you know, I'm kind of like the camera is facing towards an upwards angle. And, of course, you can see my hand visible inside of the scene. And so what's going to happen is we're going to be doing a couple of things right here to kind of like make this effect look cool. Now, of course, for the purpose of this effect, you know, my ISO settings on the camera was a bit darker. There's not a lot of lighting in this footage, but we can still make something work, if that makes sense. And so what I want you to do is, for starters, right, we're going to do some simple, basic tracking. Now, you don't have to do this, but for the sake of this tutorial, this is going to help us in terms of our tracking process. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and click on your footage. And I want you to go ahead and click on come over here to this right side and click on tracker. And once you've clicked on tracker, what I want you to do is make sure that the layer is selected and click on track motion. Now, once you've clicked on track motion, what I want you to do is go ahead and zoom in and click in this empty area and drag this little box thingy and place it right here in this lighter area of my fingertip. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and click on analyze forward. And so that should automatically track my finger properly. And so what's going to happen is we want the energy ball to stay in the center right here. But as our hand is moving, the energy ball also moves as well too. Now, once the tracking is complete, what I want you to do is come down here, right click in this area, go to new, go to null object and click on that. Click on edit target. And after you've clicked on edit target, it should select the null and then press OK. Press apply and press OK again. Now, all the tracking data is going to be stuck to this null. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and turn off the null. And let's get right into the main effect. Now, for the purpose of this effect, since this is a free tutorial, we're not going to be using the paid plugin. Like, for example, if we were to use a paid plugin, I would automatically just create an adjustment layer. I would come to the effects and presets, and I would have typed in optical flare, the optical flare plugin from Video Copilot. I would have brought it in here, changed the render mode to over original, and we would be using this optical flare plugin for our energy blast type of thing, right? So because we're not doing all that, we don't need all this. So we're going to actually create our own manual energy blast. And so here's how we're going to do it. What I want you to do is go ahead and click on this, right click in this area, go to new and go to solid. And once you create a new solid, I want you to change this solid and rename it to energy and then press enter. Make sure it's a white solid, by the way. Now, let's change make sure this thing is set to fit to 100. Now, what I want you to do is on this same energy, right? And of course, usually the color is going to be red, but you can change the color to blue, right? Let's change it to blue. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to hold shift on your keyboard. Now, come over here to this tool. It should be selected on the rectangle tool. But what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and click and hold and come all the way down to the ellipse tool. Make sure the energy is still selected. And then on your screen, hold shift on your keyboard, and then click down to create a perfect circle. So create a perfect circle. Click on the selection tool and then click up here and then just readjust this to the center. Now, once you've done that, we're going to apply some simple effects to make this look cool. So what you can do is you can turn off the footage. Turn off the footage so that all that is left is just the blue energy. Now, what I want you to do is in the blue energy area, press F on the keyboard. And then what I want you to do is feather this out just a tad. Feather it out to maybe 20. Let's just say 20. Come into the effects settings and search up glow. Now click on glow under stylized and place it on top of the energy. Now, once you've placed it on top of the energy layer, what I want you to do now is I want you to go ahead and increase the glow radius a bit more to something like this. And then what I want you to do is go ahead and change the original colors from, change this from original colors to A and B colors. And then what I want you to do is change color B to a bright blue color. So something like this. This is what I'm working with. Here's the the color thing. You can always type that into your settings to have the same exact settings and press OK. Now, once you've done that, it should look something like this. Now, if this is not exactly what you're looking for, we can tweak the settings just a tad. So increase the glow intensity just a bit more so that, the outer layer is a bit more brighter, right? So far, it's starting to look as if this ball is as a sphere, but it's just a circle. But, it kind of like gives that sphere illusion. Feel free to change the color B to any color you want. If you want the energy ball color to be a different color, feel free to change it, play around with it so you can get the same settings. I think this is pretty good for me. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and in the same energy layer, I want you to press M on the keyboard and set a lock on the mask so that the mask itself is locked so that when we touch it, we can never mistakenly adjust or readjust the mask. So far, what I want you to do is hit Control S to save your project. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the project inside of my folder and I'm going to call it tutorial. And I'm going to press Enter to save. Now, click on the energy layer and press S on the keyboard and reduce the scale. There we go. Reduce the scale. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and cut back the footage on. And once you cut back the footage on, what I want you to do is go ahead and click on the energy ball and reposition it somewhere down here and reduce the scale just a bit so that the scale, you can zoom in, hold space on the keyboard to move everything and readjust it to somewhere around here so that the maximum size should be 16 and it should not go larger than that. But we're going to be playing around with the animation a bit. So this is how it should automatically look as of right now, right? We have a solid, we have a glow, and we have a little bit of all this extra stuff. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to click on this specific energy layer, right click it, click on pre-compose, and then click on move all attributes into the new composition, and then rename this to energy advanced. Just rename this to energy advanced so we can know the difference. And then press enter. Once you've done that, we're going to come back and reapply the same glow again to it. And this time around, we can add another extra set of glow to it. This time around, again, change the colors from original to A and B colors. Feel free to change the this color right here to a much more of a brighter blue. Now you can play around with the intensity a bit till we can get an extra layer of glow. Feel free to adjust the intensity to your liking. And we should get something like this. This is more like it. Hit Control S to save. Again, feel free to play around with the colors as you wish. Maybe this color for me looks way better. And hit Control S to save. Now, once you've done that, right, we're going to do something incredible. We're going to go ahead and press P on a keyboard under Energy Advanced. And then we're going to come to the null and we're going to hit P as well too for the position. And what I want you to do is come over here under the parent link. If you don't see the parent and link, click on the toggle/switches. Click on that. And then make sure when you click on that, it should reveal the parent and link if you don't see it. Under the Energy Advanced, click on this specific pick whip tool and make sure you pick whip it under the null. So once you do that, you're going to offset. Oh, I think I made a big mistake. My apologies. Don't do that. What I want you to do is, I want you to go ahead and under the Energy Advanced, click on this parent and link and then parent and link it to the null. Once you do that, every time the null moves, you can see that the energy stays perfectly intact with this hand. So everywhere you see the hand, you'll see that the energy is moving with it. That's exactly what we want. So what we're going to do next is we're going to enable motion blur. So we're going to enable a little bit of some motion blur, and we're going to do some different animations to our, we're going to do some animations to our, the scale properties. So under the energy, advance, press S to review the scale properties. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and click on the anchor point tool. Click on the anchor point tool. Make sure energy advance is selected and drag the anchor point tool to the very center of the energy ball. Click on the selection tool, and under scale, set a keyframe on scale. Come over here to the preview section, move the time indicator to the next frame, increase this just a tad, increase it to maybe like 1/12. Move to the next frame, decrease this to maybe like 95. Move to the next frame, increase this back to 112. Move to the next frame, increase this back to 100. And of course, what we're going to do now is we're going to move this time indicator a few frames forward to the very beginning. Hold Alt or Option if you're using a Mac. Hold Alt on your keyboard or Option, depending on whatever you're using, and then click on this time indicator. Click on the keyframe thing to reveal the settings down here. Now, delete all of this and type in loop out. So what we're going to do is we're going to, and then click away. We're going to repeat the animation. So it's going to be wobbly throughout. You see what I'm saying? Now, feel free to offset this a little bit to the right. Something like this. It's fine. There we go. That's more like it. So it's going to be something like this if you press play. You see? You get that nice wiggle. This is incredible. This is incredible. This is incredible. Now that we have done that, hit Control S to save. Now, we want the animation to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to press T on the keyboard. We're going to move this all the way right here, this time indicator all the way right here, and then maybe set a keyframe right here, and then come all the way over here at the beginning, and we're going to decrease this to 0. So it's going to be like, it's just going to be a slow animation. Excellent. And hit Control S to save, or Command S to save. Now that we have done that, let's add some other stuff to this. So we're going to add an extra layer of glow to our hand. Now, remember, I did shoot this in darkness, so it's really dark outside. But if you guys want this effect to look really cool, so the moment where my hand starts to where the energy starts to appear in the palm of my hand, you can actually have somebody else shine a light directly in the palm of your hand to just make this effect look really cool. If you want to make this look really, really nice. So because I didn't do that, I'm going to have to do everything manually. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click in this area, go to new, and we're going to click on adjustment layer. I want you to rename this adjustment layer to palm glow. And again, to rename, you can right click on it and go to rename, or you can click on it and press enter, and then you can rename it. Now, in the palm glow, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the pen tool. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to draw a mask in our hand. So let's first draw a rough mask in our hand, like something like this. It's a small mask. And of course, readjust it as much as you can. Readjust it, something like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some slight animation. So click on that mask, press M on the keyboard, and set a keyframe on the mask path. Now move this a few frames forward, and we're just going to move this specific one up here a bit. Like this. I'm going to move this over here. So move the time indicator forward and then just readjust the mask itself so that it follows your hand, especially this specific hand to the right. Readjust it. Now feel free to readjust it like this. Feel free to do that. Move a few frames forward, come back here, click on the space, readjust it, move a few frames forward, readjust it, and then right here. So this should be perfect. Now remember, I don't want it to look excellent, right? Because of all the stuff we're going to add, not everybody's really going to see it that well. So press Control S to save on the Palm Glow. Now right click it and rename this to Palm Glow right, so that we know the difference. So this is the right one, and there's going to be the one for the left. Now do this. Come to the effects and presets and search up curves. Now under curves, drag curves into the Palm Glow right and increase the brightness very high. Increase the RGB, come all the way down here, select the blue, and then increase the blue just a tad. Come over here, select red, decrease the red a tad as well too, to something like this. Something like this, maybe the blue, you can change it a bit, decrease the blue just a tad, so that the colors match a bit. But the whole idea is we want this to glow like crazy, so increase it even higher. And then what I want you to do is press F on the keyboard and then feather this out just a tad. I know it doesn't look right, but just bear with me. Feather this at just a tad. Double click or triple click M to reveal the mask expansion and reduce the mask expansion a bit. Maybe the feather to like maybe 35. So it looks something like this. Now, what you can do is you can start off like this. Let's see. Press T on the keyboard. And for some reason, okay. So for some reason, what we're going to do is we're going to press M on the keyboard. Double click or triple click M for the expansion. Reveal the mask expansion again. Come all the way to the very beginning. And leave it at 0. Something like this. Now, come back on the same Palm Glow, press T on the keyboard, set a keyframe on opacity. Move this keyframe all the way over here and reduce this to 0. So it should be something like this. There we go. That's more like it. It's more like it. So, again, it doesn't look right because number one, you can't see my palm very well and it's really dark outside. And of course, I'm also black. So it's harder for you to see. But hit Control S to save. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and click on the same exact thing. Hit Control D to duplicate it. This time around, press M on the keyboard and delete the mask from here. And what I want you to do is rename this to Palm Glow Left. And then, of course, delete number 2. And then this time in this specific Palm Glow Left, what I want you to do is come over here and let's turn off the effects on that one. But what we want to do is we want to click on the pen tool and then draw a rough mask in our palm. Let's do something like this. Close that. And again, you can't really see it very well. So feel free to turn off the energy and then draw like a rough mask somewhere around here because you can't really see it very well. Let's see, zoom in and then zoom in and then close the mask. I don't know why the mask is acting like that. Give me a second, guys. Close the mask. There we go. And then press F to reveal and then feather both of them out to maybe a 10. Let's cut this layer on. And then let's come back to the very beginning where somewhere around here where we drew the mask and maybe readjust the mask just a bit. Again, we don't want the mask to be entirely perfect, but we wanted to at least do something. Click on this specific Palm Glow and then parent this to the null because it's coming from the same hand. So it's going to look something like this. It doesn't look too perfect, but like I said, we just feel free to readjust it, right? Feel free to completely readjust it. It's not going to look entirely perfect, but we just want to work with something, if that makes sense. Something like this is fine. Something is like this is absolutely fine. Feel free to press F, feather this out a bit more. Let's feather this out a bit more. And again, this part is entirely not mandatory. You can always not do this. I know I'm not really going hard into this because I didn't film this well. But after you've already done that, right, what we're going to do is let's cut the energy ball back on. And let's place the energy ball on top of all of these areas. Of course, you can change the energy advanced color to blue. There we go. So it's something like this. So that's cool. That's done. Now let's do this. We're going to click on the glow again, hit Control D to duplicate. And this time around, we're going to press M and we're going to delete all the masks. Now we're going to right click this and we're going to rename this to outer glow. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to click on these eclipse tool and we're going to draw a big glow all around our subject, this area. Let's make it big like this. Press F and feather this out. Right? Feather this out. But the objective of this is a glow. So we're not trying to make this too bluish or reddish. We just want a nice glow. So reset, press reset, and maybe increase the brightness a bit more. Something like this. Right? And then maybe the blue. Let's add some blue to it. Let's decrease the red. Something like this. Perfect. Now hit Control S to save. And in this specific layer, what we want to do is, we want to do this. We're going to go ahead and crop this out a bit. Press T, right? And then turn off the keyframe on the opacity and turn it back on. So what we want to do is, we want it to start shining right around here. So for the advanced energy glow, right, press T again and move this last keyframe right here. And the objective is in this specific glow, it's going to be flickering. So press T on the outer glow, set a keyframe on this, move to the next frame, decrease this to 10, maybe 10 is fine. Come back over here, increase this back to 100. Come back over here, decrease this to 0. Come back over here, move this, change this to 50. Come back here, 0, and then come back again. We'll bring it right back to 100. And then let's do this. Let's come back and hold Alt on your keyboard or Option and click on this, that specific keyframe, and then type in the same thing we typed in before. Right there, loop out. And then if you press play, there we go. We get that extra stuff, right? We want that extra glow. And we want it to flicker as our light bulb is flickering. The energy is flickering. This is starting to come together. Now, feel free to expand on the mask itself. So click on the outer glow and expand on the mask a bit more. Like something like this is fine. So that it shines all around this area. Perfect, perfect, perfect. This is starting to look pretty neat. Feel free in the palm left, press F, feather this out a bit. If it's looking crazy, feather it out. That's fine. This is excellent. This is excellent. This is excellent. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to do this. We're going to come all the way over here to the project area and we're going to grab some of the effects that I have. So I have this dust explosion effect that I got from, what's it called? My Creative VFX. Now, this dust explosion is just a dust explosion. Like I said, there's a bunch of free assets online, but for the purpose of this specific tutorial, and I wanted to make this effect easy for everyone. That's the reason why I grabbed this. So grab this dust explosion thing and bring this into this layer. And what I want you to do is we're going to go ahead and in this specific dust asset, we're going to offset this a bit to when the dust itself is kind of flowy. Somewhere around here is fine. And then we're just going to crop it a bit. And we're just going to move it over here. And what I really want you guys to do is we're going to do our own animation. So offset this somewhere around here, right? Hold S, reduce the scale a bit. And what I want you to do is hold Shift, click on the Ellipse tool, and then draw a perfect circle, right? And then bring that in here somewhere around here like this. That's perfect. Press F and feather this out. Like feather it out to like 424. Triple click M to bring out the mask expansion and reduce the mask expansion to something like this. There we go. So we got this sort of like this faint smoke effect. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to press T and I want you to go ahead and set a keyframe on the opacity, move this all the way over here and decrease this a little bit. So it's going to look something like this. So we get that extra small smoke floating around in the air. Now, you can also crop this out a bit and offset this, move all this area to the right a little bit, and then you know what? Bring this back like this. See how it looks. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something very simple. Click on the dust, reposition it right here, and press S on the keyboard and increase the scale. move it around here and make it a little bit bigger. Click on the toggle switches and mode and change under normal. Click on screen. Let's see. Let's make it more screenish. Now, what we can do is we can place this dust under the energy. See, it doesn't look right? So what we're going to do is we're going to press S on the keyboard. Click on the anchor point tool and reposition the anchor point tool and bring it here. And then click on the selection tool. Press S and set a keyframe on the scale. Move the keyframe all the way down here. And at the very beginning, reduce the scale of it to maybe like 26. So it should be like something like this. It doesn't look right, but keep moving this all the way at the very end. So it should be like this. There we go. So we get a little bit of some extra dust, but like I said, it's pretty faint. So hit Control S to save so far. This is starting to look really good. Now remember, this is a basic tutorial, so I'm not expecting you guys to make this look incredibly good, but again, this is a basic tutorial. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the same dust again. We're going to duplicate it. And this time around, we're going to turn off the keyframe on scale, press S and turn off the keyframe on scale, and then just increase this up a bit. And all I want you to do is just crop this out a bit. Oops, hit Control Z. Let's move it over here, press T, and let's change the opacity a bit. Come back over here and reduce this to 0. So it should be like, there we go. Get a little, some extra dust. You can offset this a bit. There we go. Yeah, it's just a little bit of dust. You can select these two layers and change the color to maybe purple, hit Control S. Now we got a little bit of some dust. I mean, it's not the best, but it's better than nothing. I would right click in this area, go to new, and then come back and click on adjustment layer and change this adjustment layer and rename this to distortion. So we're going to add some distortion. And what we're going to do is we're going to come to the effects and we're going to search up turbulent displace and drag turbulent displace into this layer. What I want you to do is change the size amount to maybe like 21 is fine. And then of course the complexity, let's see, do we want to make it more complex? Let's change the complexity to like 3.1 and we're going to change the evolution all the way to 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to set a keyframe on evolution and we're going to move all the way over here and we're going to increase this to negative 34. So it should constantly be moving. We got all this extra distortion happening on the screen, right? So that's not bad that we have all this extra distortion happening on the screen, right? But if you don't want the distortion to move that fast, right, you're going to come all the way at the very end, press U on the keyboard for distortion. And you see under the keyframe, you can change it from negative 34. You can maybe make it negative 13. That should make it slower. It's more like it. Feel free to also change the amount settings as well too. So if you don't want the distortion to be too much, you can change it to 30. So we get like a low, nice, faint distortion. See? That's more like it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, click on the ellipse tool, click on the distortion and draw a circle around this area. Click on the selection tool and place the distortion below our energy. Press F on the keyboard under distortion and feather this out just a tad. And what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and press this and press T. And so what we're going to do is we're going to press F on the keyboard, feather this out a bit. We're going to come over here, press T, go ahead and set a keyframe right here under opacity, move this all the way down here and decrease this to 0. So this should allow us to create that little faint distortion that's happening around this area as our energy ball is growing. But it appears that the distortion is a bit too big. So just make it a bit smaller, right? We don't want it to affect the whole area. We just want it to affect this specific area right here. So let's reduce the mask itself a bit and let's make it a bit smaller. And then if you press play, it looks way better. And hit Control S to save. Now that we have done that, right, we're going to go ahead and let's add some sound effects. Let's add some sound effects. Now, of course, for the sound effects, we have the Kamehameha charge up sound effect. Bring that in here. And if you double click L, it should, have its own sound. So just readjust it. Now, of course, you can just leave that, right? I mean, that's pretty much the sound effect. But, I like to be extra and I like everything to sound more cinematic. So what I would like to do is I would like to add all that extra sound in the background to help this out. So what I'm probably going to do is, let me take a look at this. So that sound, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to come over here and click on this set in point. And I'm going to end it right here and then click on the set out point and then click on this specific sound effect and then drag that in here. If you double click L, you can check out the wave properties. And if we press play, all right, we can have that sound. Then, of course, we also have this cinematic reversed sound. Feel free to drop that in there. Double click L and, offset it something like this. Maybe that one might not sound well with this, so I'm just probably going to delete it. But let me see if I can find I think that those are the only sound effects that I did provide. Yeah, those are the only sound effects that I provided. Yeah. So far, I mean, it's looking all right. You know what I'm saying? For this effect not necessarily being an advanced tutorial. I mean, it's a basic tutorial. So far, it's starting to look really good. So what I would urge you guys to do is, for example, in the distortion layer, I want you to go ahead and hit Control D to duplicate it. Press Enter and rename this to CA for chromatic aberration. Let's add a chromatic aberration effect. Come to the effects and controls, and under turbulent displace, I want you to go ahead and delete it and search up chromatic aberration. Now, chromatic aberration, if you don't have this plugin, is completely free. You can just go ahead and download it. I think I should have the link to the plugin down below. Download that. Grab the chromatic aberration plugin and place it in under CA. And then, of course, offset the position to, maybe like 6.5. That gives us this extra chromatic aberration look around our energy. Now, feel free to place that chromatic aberration on. Matter of fact, don't place it on top. Leave it where it is. Press play. So we get that extra chromatic aberration look as well, too. I think that's really neat, I think so far everything is starting to look really neat. So far this is this is starting to look really good, guys. And I think I'm really happy with the results of this specific effect. Now, of course, it does not, and I'm gonna say it again, it does not look nothing like this one right here, right? For this one, I think I went hard on this. Now, the reason why it doesn't look like this is because I used the Shine plugin from Red Giant, and I used I created a whole lot of other stuff to kind of get this look. And of course, you can see that this is more brighter as compared to this one right here. You know what I'm saying? And that's because of the plugin. So if you want the best look, trust me, if you want this to look the same, you might want to use the optical flare plugin for this. Now, let's add lightning. All right, let's add lightning. I think lightning might be the only thing that's missing in this specific area. To make it easier, I forgot to include it, but I'll definitely include it for you guys. So let me include this lightning asset that I pretty much use for all my lightnings and stuff like that. I pretty much put this together a long time ago. I'm going to include that lightning asset. I'm going to just drop it in here. Now for this asset, I'm probably going to change the what's it called? The blend mode. So come over here, click on the asset and change this to add. Right, when you change it to add, you can come over here and search up hue / saturation and drag it in here. And of course, you can change, select colorize, change the color to a blue color. So I know this lightning is not necessarily the type of lightning you would look for these type of things, but you know, you can do something pretty simple with this, right? So I can crop this out a bit. Let me see. I'm going to reduce. Place it here, probably place it under the energy. So it's going to be, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. Because the lightning is moving too fast, right? Feel free to reduce the scale a bit. I mean, you can reduce the scale a bit, hit on that rotation, increase this a tad. Feel free to use it, right? I mean, again, this is a basic tutorial, so I'm not expecting this to look completely 100%. This is not something that I would do, but for the sake of everybody else who don't have access and money to buy all that stuff, you can use this, right? Feel free to add. You can stretch it all the way. Now, if you're seeing this extra box, right? You see this box right here? That is because of the fact that this lightning asset is a, we didn't mask it out a little bit. So what you can do is you can click on the eclipse tool and, double click the eclipse tool. And then of course, readjust it just a bit, zoom in and then press F on the keyboard, feather this out a tad, triple click M and then reduce the mask expansion just a tad so that you don't have to worry about seeing that hard box line. If you don't like the sound effects specifically from this, you can always change it, turn off the sound, come over here. And I did provide this lightning Azula sound effect. Place that in here somewhere and offset this a bit to the far left. So it should sound something like this. So you can do it like that, right? It doesn't look the best, but like I said, you can honestly do that. But assuming, let's just say you don't like this lightning, you can always turn it off. You can right click, go to new, create another solid and come over here into the effects side and search up lightning. So we have the advanced, we have this lightning asset from, After Effects. You can place that into the white solid and you can manipulate this to your liking, meaning you can change it from direction to strike. Of course, you can change the color, like for example, the core settings or the glow. You can change the glow color to something like this light bluish look. You can do that. You can play around with it. I mean, and animate its origin and direction. So for example, you can animate it. Give me a second. Animate the direction. Move this time indicator a few frames forward, animate it, have it move in circular motion. You know, feel free to animate it. Like you can do all that cool stuff. So you can also do that. I mean, it's not the best, but that's why I'm always asking you guys to always buy the assets and don't be cheap, because if you really want to take your edits to the next level, you're going to have to spend money. And I get it. At times, spending money might be too much of a stretch, but trust me, you can, like I said, I just changed the type from, what's it called? I changed the type to, lightning type from, strike to omni. So you can change it to omni. You can, again, customize the core settings. So you can make the core really big, or you can make the core really small, right? You can also reduce the glow radius to something that's a bit smaller. And feel free to always change the blend mode to add a bit more spice to it. Something like this. And of course, you can always have it start like right here. And maybe if the blend mode is too much, change the blend mode back to normal. There we go. So that's one way you can do it, right? That's one way you can do it. I personally don't like it, so I'm going to delete it, but I just wanted to show you guys that that's another way you can add lightning, or you can just keep this lightning thing that I created. I mean, it's not the best. If you can find some other lightning assets on Google, like a slow motion lightning, I mean, be my guest. Be my guest. Feel free to use that. Feel free to, let me cut the sound out. Feel free to use that. So for me, I honestly don't like the lightning, so I'm just going to delete all of it, and I'm just going to leave it like this. And then I'm going to hit Control S to save. Now, of course, as usual, I'm going to go ahead and select all of the layers, right click, and go to pre-compose. Now, of course, make sure you move all the attributes and press OK. Come all the way over here, and I'm going to search up motion tile. And then I'm going to drag motion tile into this layer, and then I'm going to click on mirror edges and change the output height to 150, output width to 150. Then, of course, I'm going to change the wiggle properties. I'm going to search up wiggle, right? And click on wiggle position and drag that in here. Click on toggle switches and mode and make sure that the motion blur is selected in this layer. And maybe come right here to when it starts wiggling, right around here. Set a keyframe over here. Move this indicator one frame back. Change everything to 0. And then when you move to the next frame right here, you can increase this to like maybe 5 and maybe decrease this to like 10. So it's going to be like this. It's going to be like a soft shake, right? And then, you know, that should do it. Like I said, this is not what I would do, but again, this is a basic tutorial. So if you guys really want an advanced tutorial, you might want to wait for my course. In my course, I'm going to drop something crazy. I'm going to show you guys how to do different variations of the Kamehameha blast. I'm going to show you guys how to create the energy charge up so good that it looks so cool. I'm going to show you guys how to create advanced Super Saiyan aura effect. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy stuff right from home using Adobe After Effects. Now, after you're finished, you can always add some color grade, add some other stuff. Like for me, usually what I like to do is, let's say if I have my subject or some type of object in the scene, what I would do is I'll right click, I'll create a new adjustment layer, and then I'll rename this to blur. And what I would do is I will come over here to the effects and presets tab and search up radial blur. So the radial blur, what it does is I'll drag the radial blur into this layer, change the spin type to zoom, and then what I'll do is I will center this right here so that everywhere else is blurry except for right here. Now, the idea is I'm going to click on the eclipse tool, and then I'm just pretty much going to highlight this area. I'm going to click on add, and I'm going to change this to subtract. I'm going to press F, and I'm going to feather this out a bit. So once I have added the mask and everything, so you notice how everywhere is blurry except for this specific area, that is because that is how I've changed the settings. Now press T on the keyboard, set a keyframe on opacity, move this time in keyframe over here, decrease this to 0. So it starts to get blurry on the outside as our focus is now being shifted on the energy ball. Because if you see this, that's exactly what I did. You notice how everywhere else is blurry except for, right, the blast. Now, in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to create this cool blast, the blast and the blast beam and everything, and how to put the blast in front of your subject, how to create this explosion effect. Even if you pay attention, you can notice that the moment the explosion takes place, you can see the light also shines the same way. And then boom, boom, you know what I'm saying? Like you get that cool effect. So that's, you know, the thing about special effects is you want to pay attention to detail, right? Pay attention to detail. So now that I've added my little blur, all I have to do is Control S to save, come back over here, go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue, and of course, export this video. So I want to say thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I really hoped you enjoyed it. And if you definitely want to see more, feel free to yeah, I mean, subscribe. I think if you subscribe, you will learn more. Stay blessed and bye-bye.